Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. UFC 321, Aspinall versus Gane is upon us, and so is episode 2 of the Moneygrab. I am Kurt Hoagland here with Andrew Morin. We are going to be doing some fight breakdowns for you. Take a look at the upcoming card this weekend, Saturday, October 25th. Take a look at the fights, do a little bit of maybe some bet action while we're at it, maybe take a look at the prelims. Andrew Morin, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. I'm happy to be back and doing another episode, and it's going to be a big one with Tom Aspinall coming back after a long time off. So excited to see him.
Yeah, you and me both. Too long. That we'll get into that. That's a whole other can of worms. But looking at the card, it's a I don't want to say like it's a super stacked card, but it's got some big names on there. It seems like they're bringing a lot of the heavy hitters to the Middle East now. Whenever we're throwing cards together out there, this is an early pay per view, which is kind of out of the ordinary. Usually the pay per views they're like 9 o'clock Central Time. They're what would that be? 11 your time?
They're 10 at my
10
time.
10 your time.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
so they end around 12:30, 1 a.m.
Oh,
So
that's brutal.
yeah, it's
Super
rough.
brutal. I had to deal with that just like a week or two ago for a change whenever I was in Florida, and I didn't make it to the last fight. Obviously, me and you were
Yeah,
talking about that the next day.
yeah, it's tough staying up, but hopefully this one's worth staying up for. So we'll see.
Yep. So, like usual, we are going to be spending the main thrust of our time looking at the main card, the 5 fights that compose the main card. We're not going to spend a ton of time on the prelims, but we will highlight a couple that may be worth taking a look at the end, maybe a couple plays there. But getting straight into it, first fight of the main card, we have a light heavyweight bout: Alexander Rakic versus Azamat Murzakanov. Andrew, take it away. I can't remember who did first last time. Take it away. Do it.
Yeah, so this one, I'm kind of excited to see Alexander Rakic back. Um, I believe his last fight was at UFC 300, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
That's what
Am I
I'm
thinking
looking
of it?
right now.
Oh,
308 and then 300.
okay, so um, when he was in fighting in UFC 300 against Yuri Prohaska, I was really big on Alexander Rakic in that fight. I don't know why. The last two times I've been against Yuri, and he burned me both times. But um, yeah, man, yeah, to me, I deserve it. I deserve it. Uh, but Alexander Rakic has, I think he fought like some pretty good opposition. He's been at the top for a little bit here. Um, Up and down though, I think, as of late, like Jan Blachowicz, Yuri Prohaska, coming off 3 losses. Momentum is not on his side. And we talked about it last episode. When you're going up against an undefeated fighter, I think Murzakanov has a good shot at getting it done here. Um, this is going to be the first of many in like a kind of striker versus grappler type match. And I think Mirzakanov's just going to put the pressure on, close the distance, overwhelm Rakic, and get it done here. So my pick would be Mirzakhanov money line.
Okay.
So that's what I'm going with. Sorry for the long wind there, but that's what we're doing.
No, yeah, that's we're gonna spend our time on these, so go for it on the main ones, and we'll keep it short on the prelims. I think I agree basically with everything you said. Rakic has always struck me as one of these dudes who's like a physical freak. Like he just seems, I mean, he's built like a brick shit house. He's giant. He's got a super long wingspan, like good reach, has all the tools to get it done, and just seems to have a hard time putting it together. And I think his chin betrays him a little bit at times. He doesn't seem to be like the most durable fighter. Um, I think he's going to have like a pretty significant physicality advantage over Mirzakhanov, but I do think Azamat is the probably the better striker, probably the more durable guy at this point in time, and I think he's a little bit faster. He's not going to have the raw strength like the horsepower of Rakic, but I do think he's faster. So I think I'm going to agree with you on this one, man. I'm going Mirzakhanov as well. Um, Probably money line on that one. I don't know. Maybe the under. The under might be worth taking a look
Yeah,
at.
that's what I was looking at too. That's what I was thinking. I don't know if the odds were out actually last time I looked. They're not. So this is the first time.
Under two
Ooh,
and a half minus 115 right now.
yeah, pick them either way. One thing that makes me a little bit nervous is I think um, Rakic is going to try to stay on the outside, and Mirzakanov's going to try to come in and get into the clinch. And somebody who's been a little chinny as of late, when you're in the clinch like that, you can get hit with elbows, you can get hit with any random type one of those inside uppercuts or over the top hooks. So that the under is not bad.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So Murzakanov here is a southpaw too. He's good with the left hand, and he does like to hit like the counter left stuff like that. Throws the overhand left. So exactly what you're saying in the clinch, I could see him coming over the top with the left hand and catching Rakic and putting him out. So
Especially being the shorter opponent there. He's not going to have to like reach way up high with that overhand. He can just kind of swing it and let it hit him.
yep, I think it's because Rakic's head is teeny tiny on top of his giant body. His
Yeah.
head is disproportionately small. I agree with you on that one. We are aligned there. So moving on next, we have the heavyweight or the first heavyweight bout of the evening. One of my favorites, Alexander Volkov, is going against Jailton Almeida. I guess I'll take this one here to start. You got Alexander Volkov, 38-11. He's 36 years old. I think he is now officially the tallest heavyweight on the roster since Stefan Struve is no longer fighting. Pretty extensive record. This guy's got a lot of experience. 24 wins by knockout, 4 by sub, 10 by decision. Clearly favors the striking. Um, Even at 36 years old, I think he's still getting a little bit better. He seems to be kind of working on different aspects of his game, shoring up some of the ground weaknesses he's had in like the grappling stuff like that. Never has seemed to have the most horsepower for as big as he is. You would kind of expect a little more physicality out of him and stuff, and he just doesn't seem to necessarily have it. Durability seems to be okay. Not a lot of people are finding his chin. But grappling has always been something that has kind of been his weakness. And like you touched on just a minute ago, you were saying there's quite a few striker versus grappler matchups on this card. This is kind of one of them. Volkov's going against a guy here in Jailton Almeida, jiu-jitsu black belt. Kind of I he's pretty slick on the ground. He does a lot of technical stuff, but then there's also stuff that I see him do that is like just straight horsepower and muscle. And it's like, man, you wouldn't get away with that if you weren't enormous. He's got what people would
Yeah,
call big guy jiu-jitsu. A
yeah,
lot of his stuff is just pure horsepower. This I have flip flopped on this fight like two different times. I think if it stays standing, Volkov clearly has the advantage, and if it goes to the ground, Almeida clearly has the advantage. The deciding factor, I think Almeida is physical in the same way that Cyril Gane is, as far as being able to explode, get in on the hips, get the double leg, stuff like that, and has better jujitsu. So I kind of lean towards Almeida. This is another one though that I would probably just play the under on if I was betting it. I'll have to take a look at the odds, but take it away and then we'll look at the odds on this one.
yeah, man. You hit that right out of the park. You know, Volkov, as you said, the easiest path to victory: stay on the outside, keep those long weapons. I mean, he's got an 80-inch reach, not a huge reach advantage, but if he can keep his body a little bit bladed, keep him on the outside, Almeida's gonna have to come to him to get those takedowns, to get him to the ground. You know what I mean? Um, the one thing that I do like is like makes me lean towards Almeida here is he's fast, he's aggressive, and he gets those quick finishes. Um, he gets a 10 down, or I'm sorry, he gets a takedown and work towards that submission. And I hate to say it, man, because like Volkov has so much potential, and I think you know let's just play matchmaker here for a minute. If Gane wins the main event, Volkov has a controversial decision where Gane has the decision over Volkov. So like almost in good title position there. I mean, a lot of things have to happen for that to happen, but yeah, that'd be something. Um, the age doesn't scare me too much, but it's definitely something to keep in the back of the mind here, especially going up against a quick, fast finisher.
Agreed. And the mileage, that's the one of the things I was kind of worried about in this fight is the mileage. So are you going Almeida? You think then?
Yeah, I'm going Almeida, and you know what? I kind of think a submission as well. I think an early submission he could get him, or as the fight goes on, end up that submission prop. I'm not exactly sure what the submission prop would be, but I'm assuming it's plus money.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it here. Ooh, 140 plus 140.
Let me see. There you go. Prop plus 140. I mean, that's what I would play for this one for sure.
Cool. All right, so next up we have the bantamweight bout of the evening, one with I feel like maybe title contention, title implications on the line as well, like we were saying on the last one. But we have Umar Nurmagomedov versus Mario Bautista. You're up on this one, man. Take it away.
Yeah, look, I'm really excited to get into this one. Mario Bautista looked so sharp in his last one. His boxing was crisp. He was so slick. His footwork was great. He had good head movement. He was defensively responsible. And we saw a little bit in Umar's last fight of not as invincible as we thought he was. Granted, he was going against Merab Dvalishvili, who's like, there's no other words to describe him other than like the machine. Like he was phenomenal, especially and now he's turning around quick. Um, but I'm going to be interested in seeing how Nurmagomedov comes back after a loss. I don't think that's going to hinder his mental much, but we never know. Um, as we said earlier in the episode, striker versus grappler ish. I can see it here. Um, Mario Batista has a clear path to victory if he stays on the feet. I do not think Umar is as good of a striker as Batista. That being said, I think Nurmagomedov really mixes it up well, and I can see this being might be an unpopular opinion, but a boring, grappling heavy Umar Nurmagomedov on top, not really risking too much submission, just staying on top, holding them down, and squeaking out a decision here. So my pick would be Umar by decision. My bet would be the fight to go the distance. Um, that would be the bet there, and also probably Nurmagomedov by decision.
I'm gonna check those odds while we're sitting here talking about it. I would agree with just about everything you said on that one. So you said Nurmagomedov decision. We are
Yes,
looking at a minus 165 there.
which is not bad.
No, not
Uh,
at all.
you know, I think they both have the cardio to go. Fight to go the distance might not be our best bet there at minus 225, but pick a side and go for it. So
Yeah, a little juicy.
yeah,
Um, So yeah, I mean, I would agree with basically everything. I was also curious how Umar is going to come back from the first L on his record. The Dagestani crew does not strike me as the type that is really going to be rattled by something like that. But then also that generally, it seems like those are the type of dudes that do get rattled by it, are the ones that you're like, oh, this guy will be fine, and then he comes back and looks like complete shit. So it's like, is he going to be one? I don't know. Actually, it's funny, man. I touched on a lot of this stuff when I was doing the breakdown earlier in the week as well. Mario Batista, I think his fight IQ and his composure is underrated. I think that's one of the best aspects of his game. I think he is a little limited in his striking. Like, it's not like he has a wide, diverse arsenal of attacks like Umar does, where he's doing like lead question mark kicks and all that. But I think what he does very well. He kind of relies on the meat and potatoes and puts them together pretty well. Very strong, very fast. Physically, I think he's going to hang just fine with Umar. Umar is pretty big for the division. I don't think there's a lot of people there who could hang with him, but I don't think Mario's going to have much trouble. Where I think he's going to struggle is just the chain wrestling. It's the same
yeah,
spot that everybody does. So
yeah. And another thing that I think Batista can like one thing that's gonna be an issue is almost willing to take those um, I guess unfavorable positions. Uh, like being willing to okay, like not fight for the scramble as hard and just take the position on your back and then you're held there the whole round. You know what I mean? Or give up your back and now all of a sudden you're in a rear naked choke for 4 minutes. So, you know, that's something he's got to pay attention to, I think, in this one.
yep. Yeah, the willingness to accept position. Like, you really do have to scramble and fight. I mean, that's what Marab did, and that's why I think he was
Yeah.
successful. There is no instant where your back can hit the mat and you settle, which unfortunately a lot of these guys do. So
And,
I
and
would say
oh,
say
sorry.
what?
That being said, like I think looking at like the way the landscape of the judging is, I think even though somebody could be on their back, um, doing damage, I think the judges are still going to give the favorable position to the guys on top,
Oh, absolutely.
regardless if they're doing more damage or even if the guy on the bottom is being more effective. I think that's just the way, unfortunately, the judging is. So
Yeah,
when
there's a certain amount of optics to it, but then also in this just fight specific to this one, keep in mind who is going to be on top and where are we going to be at. The fight is 100% going to go in favor of Umar so long as he's on top.
Right.
Given where we are and everything else, like it definitely is. So to wrap it up, though, I would same play decision Umar. Though I do think a sprinkle on Bautista by decision or some kind of upset or maybe just money line at plus 455. Those odds have gotten wildly inflated. Umar should be about a 3-1 favorite, not a 6.25 to 1 favorite. That's ridiculous. So once they get that inflated in MMA, it's always worth sprinkling just a
Oh
tiny
yeah.
little bit on the dog, on the old dog there. But yeah, fun. I actually think that's probably maybe the most technical, like interesting matchup of the night is that one right there.
Yeah, and I think that one is out of all the underdogs in the card, I think he's the most live underdog. He's
Yeah.
criminally underrated, and I just think it's just it has the makings of an upset on it.
Yep. Well, he's got a history of doing it too. That's kind of his whole shtick.
Yeah,
So moving on, first title fight of the night, the women's strawweight title bout is on the line. We have Virna Jandiroba versus Mackenzie Dern. I think am I up on this one? I
I
think I
believe
am.
so.
Yeah. So we have this one, kind of unlike the others, where we had the classic striker versus grappler matchup. This one we kind of have a grappler versus grappler matchup. It's also a rematch from several years ago. I actually don't remember exactly when their first fight was. I'm gonna have to look it up here, but
I believe it was back during the pandemic.
okay,
It
so it's
might have
been a
been a
minute then.
pandemic card, yeah.
Let's see. Now Mackenzie Dern won the first fight. If I recall, it was a decision. Yeah, 2020, December 12th, 2020. Uh, Both of them have pretty comparable experience, particularly when you consider Mackenzie Dern's competition record in jiu-jitsu. You'd have to add on like another 200 matches there at a pretty high level. She's been pretty much top of the scene for years in that realm. Virna Jandiroba, pretty basic striker. I worry a lot about her defense against like high level strikers. Again, in this match, I don't know necessarily that she's going to have to worry about it too much. It's basically a grappling threat. Mackenzie does occasionally drop to the side and throw like the big winging overhand, and she's landed a couple of them. I think she actually sat down somebody pretty early in her career with one, and then proceeded to choke the chick out. But um, grappling wise, I think Vina, however the fuck you say her name, I think she is the better wet blanket, like technical jujitsu, very positionally dominant. And I think Mackenzie Dern is almost better at like the sport weird way that jujitsu has taken in the last like decade or so. She's doing a lot of like inverted and leg attacks and stuff like that. So it's just two different realms of jujitsu. I always lean towards Jandiroba's style, the more technical style. It doesn't rely as much on physicality, and that's you've got a lot more of a base there to work with. Given that McDern won the first fight is where I'm torn. Generally speaking, whoever won the first fight, I think there's a stat out there. It's like they win 66% of rematches. So that alone generally makes me just bet on them and disregard anything else. I just can't help but think that Jandiroba wins this fight. I think she takes the fight game more seriously. I think she trains a little more seriously. She's focused on the fight game. I like her style of jiu-jitsu, as I've already said. I worry that she gets cracked by Dern, and then sat down and something happens. But I think the way Amanda Ribas was able to stay safe against Dern in their last fight, I think Jandiroba is better on the ground than Ribas is. I think she can stay safe. And I think she wins the strap at plus 130. I'd say play it money line and take the plus money. What do you think, Mine?
Oh yeah, man. Like I was looking at my notes as you were going over that, and I'm like checking it off. Every single thing you were saying is exactly what I was thinking. And I went back and watched the first fight, and like it was a classic, I guess, Mackenzie Dern fight. I believe since that first fight though, she linked up with Jason Perlow, great boxing coach. And I think in the last couple fights, Mackenzie Dern's boxing actually has gotten better, and she's been making a lot of improvements. So I guess my only fear for Jandiroba would be that she gets, like you said, cracked on the outside. She kind of has some struggles getting those takedowns, but once they're down, she's really good at like position over submission. I don't think there's going to be a finish here. I can see the grappling back and forth. I can see it being like 2 rounds apiece going into the 5th round, or Dern wins round 1 and we see Jandiroba sweep the rest of them. Um, so I think Dern has great jujitsu. She's pretty good with control. Her striking's coming along. Um, but Jandiroba's on a 5-fight win streak. And momentum's on her side. And I just think in fights like this, where I feel like for the UFC it'd be better if Mackenzie Dern wins. You have like somebody who's more popular. She's the face of the division. This has an upset written all over it. And Jandiroba is, you know, there's value on that plus 130 for sure.
Agreed. Like there's the whole marketable aspect. Of course, everybody's going to want Mackenzie Dern to win for that whole thing. She's kind of, it was the Ronda Rousey effect. There were women fighting well before Ronda Rousey, but she was the first one that was that marketable, kind of made a splash on the scene. She was the total package. And I could see that they're putting their chips behind old Mackenzie Dern, but like you said, it's ripe for an upset just because of that. That type of shit always happens.
And we've seen Mackenzie Dern, who's before she's been like trying, like they've been pushing her, pushing her, pushing her. Then they just take, John Anik talks about it all the time, that 2-year championship setback, and we've seen, like she's in number one contender matches or climbing up there and then loses. And, that's what we see. So I'm going Jandiroba decision here.
I like that one. Let me see. I didn't check the decision odds, but I do like that play.
I mean, you
Uh,
could even play money line at plus one,
275.
play them both.
Yeah, sprinkle a little bit on it. 275 is good.
Yes, that's a lot of value for that play. And I think that's a likely outcome.
Agreed. Agreed. And I don't maybe controversial, so feel free to pass on the question here. Do you think that the title shot is deserved for Mackenzie Dern?
No, I don't. Um, that being said, I don't have a good answer who it should be. You know what I mean? Um, I think just from the champion, there's a huge gap to everybody else. So at that point, it's almost like, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whoever's there. You know, when the gap is so big, it's very similar to the heavyweight division that we're going to next. The gap between the champion and everybody else is so big. So people who maybe don't deserve the title shot are getting them. So
That's a good point. That's a good point. When the gap there is an ocean, you got to have
yeah,
somebody to throw in there, and yeah, Dern just happened to be right place, right time. So I'd agree
yeah.
with you. All right, the main scrap of the evening. We have the heavyweight title on the line. We have Tom Aspinall versus Bongamin Cyril Gane. Take her away, man. This is you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so excited to see Tom Aspinall back in the main event. Little nervous because of that layoff. But Tom Aspinall, he's big. Everybody says he's a heavyweight that moves like a lightweight, and it's true. He gets in there. He has great grappling. He has great striking. He's fast. He's quick. He doesn't get paid by the hour. He's in and out. I mean, the last couple fights, like to see him in round 2 is rare. Um, I'm just so excited to see him in there, man. And that the whole John Jones situation is so unfortunate because I think this is the perfect type of fight where the old fighter's at the end of his career and everybody knows, like, okay, he's the next big challenge, like the passing of the torch moment. We could have got like a nice like passing of the torch moment, and it just didn't happen. And because I think Aspinall would have, I think he beats the brakes off John Jones. And I think he beats the brakes off of Cyril Gane too. I think this is under, DraftKings has a prop. I'm not sure if it's up yet, but I know it's like under zero point 0.5 rounds, which is under 2 minutes and 50 seconds. I think Tom Aspinall gets him out of there so quick. He's going to rush across the cage, put the pressure on him, maybe get a takedown, and then just pound him out. Um, yeah, I mean, he's everything, dude. He's got everything.
Agreed. Complete package, and he's marketable. He's got everything. Which they need to get that act together. I feel like they're still not behind him quite enough.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't know how the talk is still. I mean, granted, I brought it up, but how is the talk still John Jones? You know what I mean? It's crazy. It's
Yeah,
like this dude. What does he have to do? It's kind of like Marab. How many title
yeah.
defenses do you need before everyone's like, "Oh wow, this guy's great, pound for pound, number one"? Like, what do we need to do here? He's lightning fast. He's confident. I think he really could do a lot of damage by laying into those leg kicks, especially early. Going against a striker who has that wide stance like Cyril Gane, who's quick in and out, cutting those the legs of him would just be that would be a path to victory, especially if it goes into the later rounds. Invest in the legs, invest in the body, and get him out of there.
Yeah, and mobility being Cyril Gane's like one of his biggest tools. Obviously, that's going to be a good way to go ahead and start chopping away, kind of limiting that mobility. I agree with basically everything you said. I don't know that I have a lot to add to this fight that hasn't already been said by pundits and bigger names than me. Like it's clear Tom Aspinall has been kind of done a little bit dirty by the organization, but they finally seem to be kind of getting behind him and getting the act together. He is the complete package. He's got great striking, great boxing, kicks. Doesn't do a ton with his kick game, but he doesn't really need a ton of like. I'm not expecting him to go out there and throw wheel kicks and shit as a heavyweight. I think a nice calf kick, a nice chopping leg kick, maybe some occasional rips to the body, something like that is plenty for him. Great grappling. He's got a pretty good blast double. And of course, solid jujitsu. His dad was like one of the first black belts in the UK or something. There's some goofy stat like that floating around out there. But of course, that was his first sport, so I guess really his background is actually the grappling, which you wouldn't necessarily pick that up looking at his record, given he's just blasting through everybody. But background is actually in grappling, so I think that is the surest and safest path to victory. I don't want him to get a little too full of himself and stay too long standing with Cyril Gane. I think that's a dangerous game, especially at heavyweight, where literally one punch can change everything, as everyone has said 1,000 times before me. So take the safest path to victory. Go out there, shoot a blast double. I don't know, do like the baby arm like he did to Volkov was pretty nice, but given how jacked Cyril Gane is, he's probably not gonna be able to do that. Maybe a Kimura or like a key lock or Americana. Ooh, a head and arm. That's what we're gonna say. Head and arm. He's gonna head and arm Cyril Gane is what I'm calling right
Get
now.
ready to clip this when it happens. Get ready to clip it.
Come make a highlight of it. I need to look up specifically, see if we can get plus 1,800 odds on that again or whatever. That'd be absolutely insane.
Yeah, I mean, dude, the only two people that beat Cyril Gane is John Jones and Francis Ngannou, and I think Tom Aspinall beats both of them. The only thing that does scare me a little bit is Cyril Gane is he's just so quick and slick as he's standing up. So if Tom Aspinall, is kind of being not pressured and is just kind of trying to stay on the outside and playing that game also, I think Gane can point fight that all night. And I'm also like a little part of me wants to see Tom Aspinall in like round 3, round 4, round 5. What does he look like when he gets past those quick early rounds? Unfortunately, yeah, I don't think that's happening. I think he's getting him out of here round 1. Round 2, I'd be shocked to be honest.
That's a big question mark there is how does Tom Aspinall look late in the fight? That could get ugly. I don't know. It worries me a little bit. I mean, you could always play a little bit on Cyril Gane inside the distance too, just on the off chance he catches him with the big punch or something. Like the odds are probably going to be insane, but I just for the story and everything else, like Tom has to win. He has to go out here and do the damn thing. I want to see him and Poatan at the White House.
Yeah, man.
Poatan did his half. Now we need Tom Aspinall to do his half, and then put the two together. Now it would put him on the sidelines for a little bit again to the White House card, but he's the heavyweight champ. That's generally
Yeah,
what happens
that's
with the
how it goes.
heavyweights.
That's how it
Yeah,
goes. And Marab's gonna get his next title defense, and then he's gonna go against Alexandre Pantoja on the on the White House card. That'd be perfect.
God, that'd
Super
be
fun.
great. That'd be great.
Both
So
clean their divisions out, so
yeah, I mean at this point it kind of is what makes the most sense, especially like from a marketing angle and stuff. But that is it for the main card. Taking a look here, just breezing through the prelims, there are a couple that are probably worth keeping an eye on. Personally, I have the Kazakh connection there. My coach is from Kazakhstan, so we try to root for all those guys. We've seen a couple of his fights now. I think he wins this fight. Mitch Raposo, I don't know. The dude's kind of all over the place in his performances. At a 4-1 favorite, I don't necessarily know that you can play Maxum, at least not by money line. I would say probably by decision. Mitch Raposo's pretty durable. I could see him hanging in there, but Azat's got a clear grappling advantage in that one, I think. Um,
Yeah, I would agree with you on that one. I would agree with you for sure.
oh, Hamdi and Chris Barnett.
Dude,
That's
every
just,
time I see Chris Barnett, I always think of he got that knockout and he did like that front flip and he put his
oh
hands up.
yeah, yep.
So I'm not even going to look at the rest of the card. We're going to play him at +3, whatever he is, just in
I
the
like
off
it.
chance he gets that nice front flip and he's done.
I like it.
But I also think he can have a one-way ticket out of the UFC too. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, jokes aside, I do kind of think, unfortunately, that's kind of the path we're going here with him. I think that might have been Jean Vellante that he knocked out and then did the front
Oh,
flip and
it was
everything.
a retirement fight actually. Now
I think it was. I only remember that because I'm a Weidman fan, and that was Weidman's boy. And
yeah,
I
he
think he hit him with like a wheel kick or some goofy shit, and then
and
put him
came back
down.
being like a gym teacher and like his whole school was watching him and stuff and the big like send off. Oh yeah, that's rough.
Brutal,
That's rough.
brutal. Nathaniel Wood, I'm a fan of him. I don't really know much about this Delgado kid. I mean, they've got him as a favorite. You got any dogs in that one there?
Yeah, and I like Nathaniel Wood there. I think he's well-rounded. He's on a little win streak here. 70% takedown defense. He's experienced. Hits with about 50% of his shots. So, I like him here. He's got the experience for sure. I mean, 21-6. You know, this is typically where experience takes over, especially going against a less experienced fighter. So,
Yeah,
I like
at that
Wood here,
level.
especially at plus money. You know, worth it.
Yep, agreed. Now he moved up recently to featherweight, but he's not like tiny for the weight class. I think he does okay there. I don't really know a ton about this kid though. I Nathaniel Wood is just a very well-rounded, good fighter, so I have a hard time thinking he's gonna get like just blown out of the water by anybody.
Yes.
We got Johnny Walker's brother, Walter Walker versus Louis Sutherland. So this is like a double rescheduling. Walter Walker was supposed to fight Kamaru Usman's brother, right? And then he popped.
Yes. Yep. Yep.
Okay. And then Louis Sutherland was fighting Tafa, who got sick and then got cut or something like that because he's pulled out of like 4 fights last minute or
Yeah,
something.
he's always pulling out. He's always pulling out.
That's a mess. I don't really have any dogs in that one. I would like to see Walter Walker pull off another heel hook, just simply because he's already done it a couple
Yeah,
times.
yeah, that's cool. It's like his signature move. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, he's hit what 3 of them now. I think 2 or 3 of them for sure.
Yeah, I think the last fight they were like, "Oh, it'd be crazy if you hit 3," and then all of a
Yeah,
sudden
just
he did
rips this dude's leg.
it.
Oh shit about either of these guys. Abdul Karim Al Sawadi versus Mateusz Camilo.
No, I'm also unfamiliar with that one. I was looking over the card yesterday, and the day before yesterday, and I didn't see it on there, so maybe just the
Last
website.
minute, yeah, or some local talent that gets thrown on there last minute.
Yeah, Ben.
Now this fight I think is actually a really good matchup. Lightweight bout. We have Ludovic Klein versus Mateusz Rebecki. I'm a fan of both these guys. This is actually one I would probably just sit back and enjoy the fight. It's just one to watch for fun. Do you have any bets or anything on this one?
Yeah, I am going with Rebecca here.
Okay.
Last time I checked, it was plus 114. I think he's gonna, take down control. Um, he has to be careful closing the distance, but I think it's just gonna be like a decision here.
Yeah.
Plus 114 on the money line or plus 120, even better.
Yep. Got it even
So
better now. I
yeah,
do think he's probably the better and more explosive grappler. I would agree with you on that. Probably going to secure the takedowns. He while he's fresh, he ragdolls people and then
yeah,
he gasses.
yeah. So like this could be a fight where um, I'm not really a big fan of the point spreads on MMA just because I
hmm
think it's weird and can get wacky, especially with the judges. But I can see where Rebecca gets the first 2 rounds and then gasses.
Yeah.
So as long as Klein picks up a round on 3 of the judges' scorecards, maybe plus the points there.
Yeah, you could always live bet it. That's always one like that Neil
Right.
Magny fight. Just kind of watch the momentum, and if it's starting to swing back in that favor, do it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
We got a middleweight bout: Ikram Aliskerov versus Jun Young Park. The only interesting, I mean, I like both of these guys. It's kind of an interesting one to see how Ikram bounces back from the Robert Whitaker. I think Robert Whitaker dusted him last. I think is that his most recent fight? I'm the one with the records here. I could look it up.
It sounds familiar. It
I
sounds
think it is. I want to say Robert Whitaker knocked him out. Oh, he's got the TKO win over Andre Muniz.
Okay.
So he's bounced back one, but then yeah, right before that, last June of 24 was the KO loss to
And
Robert
that's a
Whitaker.
killer because he was coming off a win streak too,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a monster. He's got good striking, very fast. Jun Park is very durable, but this is honestly, I think they're kind of setting him up with a decent win here. This is kind of a lob, and it's like, hey man, you better spike this because we're setting you up for a performance here.
Yeah, and then he starts climbing through that middleweight rankings, and he's on his way.
Start gaining some momentum, and then the final fight, the what do they call this one again? I forget. You told me last time. What is the main of the
Prelim.
featured prelim? I always want to call it the premiere, and that's not. I don't know why my brain goes there every time, but we have
Hey,
Nasrat
we can call it
Hakparast, the premiere fight, versus Quillen Salkid. I don't know how you say his name. What's your thoughts on this one? Were you leaning one way?
Yeah, this is Nazareth Hekpras fights out of TriStar. Most famous for George St. Pierre. Kenny Florian was there. Um, I just think he's got the experience. Last I checked, he was minus 120. He fought against a more experienced competition. He has a slight height disadvantage, but I don't think that's going to matter here. I think he's going to use his experience and get it done.
Yeah, pretty durable guy as well. I didn't even realize the whole TriStar connection there. Well, isn't does I'm assuming TriStar is still around. Eamon Zahabi, who just fought like last weekend, yeah, with the
Yeah,
win over
Farad.
Cheeto.
Yeah, yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I don't know. I mean, I think Cheeto lost that fight. It was close. You can start saying, oh, the Canadian judges they sway it one way, but you know,
I don't
unfortunately,
think that was it.
out. Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
think that was what swayed that fight. I think I agree with you on that one. I think Zahabi won it. And I don't even like the guy. I thought Cheeto was going to win that, and I still was picking Zahabi
yeah. Oh
after the
yeah.
fight. So, well, that is it. That is episode 2 of the Money Grab. We have the UFC 321 Aspinall versus Gane breakdown. Covered some bets for you. Per usual, we will both be putting out some bets on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. Usually like the day of weigh-ins or like the day before, somewhere, the day of the fight, somewhere right around that time. But again, I want to stress the issue. Do not forget, this is a early pay-per-view. I forgot the last time and missed like the first 3 or 4 fights of the card. So don't forget, 1 o'clock Central Time. Adjust accordingly. I think that's it. Andrew, got anything to send them out with?
No, man. Thanks for having me back, and I can't wait to do it again. Let's make some money.
Agreed. Yeah, we'll see you next time, guys. Peace out.